right, welcome to Bonehead. Something's different. I have snacks. That's what it is. I got snacks.
My Diet Pepper's lukewarm at best.
Diet Pepper?
That is a Dr. Coke. I didn't mean to say it that way.
Did I say something?
You said Diet Pepper and I said Dr. Coke.
Did I say Diet Pepper?
You did like a dumbass.
Oh my God.
The only thing worse is I said Dr. Coke. That's a Mr. Coke.
Oh, it's an honorary degree.
Oh, this episode's gonna go smooth.
Just like the silk. That's a little shaggy for y'all.
Oh.
Shaggy?
Oh, why am I blanking on a Shaggy song?
Mr. Loverman? That's my favorite.
No, not Mr.
Loverman. Actually, is that Shaggy? That may not be Shaggy. Maybe. It wasn't me. Is one.
It wasn't me. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Loverman, isn't that Shabba Ranks?
It is Shabba Ranks. Good
Thank you.
job.
Thank you.
That's which leads us directly into today's topic. Things you can do with
Scooby-Doo movies.
Yeah. Ruh-roh.
Welcome to Bonehead.
Did you say favorite Scooby-Doo movies?
Favorite Scooby-Doo movies.
If it's not Return to Zombie Island, which just came out, it's nothing.
All right. So today's topic, gentlemen, is James is back on the couch.
Yay. That's a horrible topic.
Couch.
How do we even write a script for James is on the couch?
I can think of many things. Most of it's fan fiction, if you get my drift. James laid on the couch.
Couch groaned under his...
Gnawing on a greasy pork chop.
I don't think you're actually supposed to eat doing podcasts.
Yet, there we go.
You're also supposed to make podcasts that people enjoy watching, but yet we roll on.
Well, no, listening. It's a podcast.
Well, that's where we fucked up. Anyway, what's today's topic, gentlemen?
Kid-friendly Halloween movies.
What? Halloween's next week.
Yes, it is.
We're actually shooting...
Well, no. I guess
we're so behind.
How behind are we?
Your mom's behind.
Yes, it's used for stuff.
Macking gravy.
But no, so we decided...
I can't hear this chip back beside of me, can they?
We'll fix it in post.
I'm actually kind of glad we're all 3 years.
Yeah.
It's kind of smiling. Where have you been all my life, James?
It has to be damp.
Back to your mom. Moist.
Look where there's no audio whatsoever.
Well, I could talk. It wouldn't be any good.
I mean,
versus when is it actually good?
Versus silence?
Yeah.
Enjoy the silence. It was Erasure that taught me that.
That wasn't Shabba Ranks.
I thought you were going to go with The Sound of Silence.
No.
And the people bowed and prayed to the neon god they made.
Jesus, is that actual words?
What?
Yeah, have you all never listened to the Simon and the underrated Garfunkel?
No. I watched that one movie he was in, Carnal Knowledge, with Jack Nicholson.
If you ever watched that movie about...
They still can't hear this bag, can they?
This guy that finished school and was a graduate, they did the music for that, and that kind of...
Overrated.
That's a good question. It is very much of its time.
Yeah. I was actually somewhat of a joke, but it is. There are parts where it's just
plastics.
Yeah.
So when we came up with this topic, really quick, we're actually this is pretty quick. Hopefully my CPU just died. Hopefully the laptop will work tomorrow to put this episode together. Otherwise, this some bitch ain't coming out in time for Halloween because we're actually doing it the night before.
Hold on, Joe. You can fix this in post. Happy Halloween 2019, 2020, 2021. So whatever year this comes out.
Yeah. So we've been wanting to do more kid-friendly episodes, and not where we don't say fuck, that's not what I mean. Friendly episodes of where we give you advice on what to show your children.
By the way,
because that's what you want to hear from us, is advice on how to rear your children.
Yeah, and by the way, one of the things we're going to talk about tonight involves the word fuck. So I'm just saying that right now.
What is it?
We'll get to it.
Okay.
I love the fact that he says we will talk about it, but I don't know what he's talking about.
We're going to talk about it.
But we all have children. Well, we're all raising children.
Yeah.
We're all raising Phil Spillman's children. And it's so funny when Abby does it. Anyway, so we're always Chad and I just had this conversation when he came in. Quint was watching Toy Story 3, and I said, well, I'm trying to introduce him to Toy Story because I couldn't take one more episode of the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
But
okay.
Joe, it's fun inside.
Come on inside, it's fun inside. Yes, there might be giants, has taught me that. Good for you.
By the way,
But-
he got mad at me because we were watching. Not to get off topic,
I
but to
didn't
get
get
off
mad.
topic. He got mad at me
Called you
because
bullshit.
got mad at me because we were watching Toy Story 3, and it was one of the parts in the junkyard where Buzz is getting trapped and it's dark and he's glowing.
Yeah.
That toy at this point in time is at least 15 years old. There's no way that glow in the dark paint is still functional.
Now, well, I don't know. Now, I do
I
have
pointed out it was
every-
a talking fucking toy.
It still biggest bullshit in that entire movie is that glow in the dark paint.
You know, somebody posted on Facebook the other day, I don't know if she actually is, Melissa Nicholson, so I just want to go ahead and say her name, that she
Daughter
thought
of Jack?
No. She thought
A
Jaws
golfer?
was boring.
What, she thought what was?
Some people can
Jaws was boring.
Okay, I'm not saying it is because it's not.
No, you don't like it, though.
What are you talking about? I like Jaws.
Yeah, but no.
Not
no,
your
you,
level of
No,
liking.
you don't like Jaws.
I do too like Jaws.
Joe,
No.
listen, not any of us other than you fantasize about a sexual relationship with the shark.
Once.
Anyway, continue on with your
I've
story.
got your bigger boat right here, Mr. Shark. Joe, it was just flipping weird, okay? And the fact we went to one of those repertory showings.
It's boring.
I think the problem.
I want to
with
get
it
on
is-
to this in a second. I'm
I-
sorry.
I-
That's probably not a bad Halloween movie.
I think the problem with it is it's an easy solution, and there's several.
You don't
horror
go in the
movies.
Water?
Several horror movies have an easy solution.
Well, they've got all them summer dollars. If they don't kill that shark, they're not going to get them summer dollars.
That's what I'm saying. But it's kind of my thing about. So I introduced, oddly enough, today my kids said we think we're ready to watch a scary movie, and I'm like, no, and Dana actually said, why don't we show them Poltergeist? Poltergeist isn't too terrifying. Dana forgot a certain scene where the parents are enjoying some
They're smoking weed, dude.
yeah, that. But I was like, but the kids are like, actually, Amaz's exact words are they smoking? That's gross. And I'm like, yeah, they're just smoking cigarettes.
Which leads me to my first movie, Poltergeist.
That they actually liked it. But what was funny was
Is that a PG?
It is PG.
PG.
Jesus Christ.
I told the kids though the scene that got the kids
Yeah.
is the same scene that got to me when I first watched it. That guy splashing water on his face.
Oh yeah, all the meat coming off.
Yeah, and my kids gonna watch like everything else.
That's me
it's like
too.
And I finally had
that
to.
freaked me out when I was a kid too.
I finally explained it's a puppet because that guy wasn't paid enough to rip his actual skin off.
So, really quick, now that we've, James busted my Poltergeist cherry, you
Not
all
before
said,
that shark
you
got
actually
to
said
it.
PG or below.
Yeah.
Oh shit,
It's
dude.
kid friendly.
Is it? It opens it up before
No,
PG-13.
We're getting
Because
to
Jaws would be another one.
We're getting to this too because there's another issue. There's a big issue with that with the ratings, and I'll get into it.
PG now ain't what PG used to be.
But no.
Yeah.
So, Poltergeist, I wanted to talk about it for a few minutes. And I actually was going to not bring
Clock
it
him,
up.
see if he talks for
Well, it
3
wasn't going to be it was going to be, it might have been third or fourth, like if we talked about something, I was going back and forth about where I wanted to put it.
Yeah.
In fact, I didn't even put any notes down inside of it. I just put Poltergeist because I knew it was like, dude, that's PG. It's directed by Tobe Hooper, supposedly. He did get directing credit.
Yeah.
We've talked about that on previous episodes.
Yeah.
Spielberg produced it, actually rewrote most of the screenplay, which was Tobe Hooper's admitted before. It's about a family who are in a suburban home, and it's a quintessential haunted house picture where they flipped it on its ear, is that it takes place in suburbs.
Yeah.
I don't know of a haunted house movie that took place in the suburbs before then. They were usually
And
in
it's very
Gothic mansions,
suburbs.
and it's very much.
The remote control thing.
it's Southern
I had to explain that to the kids.
California suburbs of the
Sprawl.
early '80s. Sprawl. That's what it is, or they call them track housing.
Yeah.
Track housing. That's what it is. Now, before that, we had haunted mansions, houses, for example, Legend of Hell House. People burying themselves basically in life so they can haunt their huge-ass, rich-ass mansion forever. Or if it's a house on Haunted Hill, they have these contemporary huge mansions. But it's never a 3,000 square feet tract house in Southern California.
Where literally you can reach out and touch your neighbor.
Where you can reach out and touch your neighbor, you're flipping. So what happens is that there starts to be supernatural occurrences. I can't. Should I explain the plot?
Well, actually, here, let me. Since we're doing it for kids, you want me to stop and tell you what my kids' issue with it
Yeah,
was?
I'm kind of curious.
We had to stop because they were like, "What the hell's wrong with that TV?"
Yeah.
Because of the static.
Static, because they've never experienced static.
Oh, that didn't occur to me. And
They never
did they experience when it goes off at night?
And
When
that's
the
what I said,
dog
that
is walking around, eats the chips?
We had to explain that. I was like, I explained that before it ever started. I'm like, you all need to understand that TV used to go off. Like, it didn't turn itself off. Like, it would be, this now concludes our broadcast day, national anthem, and in the morning, they would play the national anthem and then start their broadcast day.
Right.
And there was usually 4 to 5 hours, at least, where there was no TV on.
Right.
And literally, Amelia was like, why? And I was like, because people went to sleep. That's what you did. And people went home. People that worked at the station went home. And, but anyway, so we had to explain that. We had to do that. And what was funny about it was the things that still work, that my kids still got to my kids, and the effects are dated.
Are they really? I watched it last year. I think it holds up pretty well.
Some of the effects. Well,
Which ones?
The animated hand stuff that comes out. It's obviously drawn.
I love it. Actually,
well, that's because you're of that time.
But what I was going to say is,
you're old as fuck.
You know what works out really well? What I was going to say, though, what parts they did like, and they didn't scare them, but they liked, was when the energy orbs start coming into the room, and later on when they watch it through the camera, and you can kind of tell it's more people walking.
Yeah.
That looks really great. Actually, I was like, that part has held up really well.
Because it's mostly practical effects.
Yeah, but a lot of the flashing and the stuff, my kids were like, man. And actually, there's a couple things that they loved it. They loved it. They were glad they watched it. But the clown,
Till tonight.
The clown covered.
Till tonight.
Yeah.
Nope, the clown they hated. And by the way, I don't mean they just hated the clown when it actually came alive. Like, it literally walked in the room. My daughter literally goes, no, not put something over that. And then when he threw the Chewbacca coat or whatever over it, she was like, good. But, I mean, it's PG. I don't think my son would have been able to handle it a year ago. Because he's very, actually, they went to Kings Island yesterday, and he had to get one of the no-boo passes where they put it around your neck to say, don't scare me. Because
he said no boobs. That's sad.
Joe, I don't know what you think Kings Island is, but it's not good to be king.
Clearly, it doesn't have any boobs. It's no place I want to go.
But
when I say boobs, I'm talking about idiots. I get around morons, maroons, if you will.
Thank God you never get to do that during this show.
Oh.
Anyway, but no. I would actually say it worked out pretty well. What's funny about it, and what I love, is it tells me what type of kids I'm raising.
I think you took over my movie.
Oh, you said you wanted to know what my kids' response. You know what their response was?
What? You've had given me a dozen.
Their closing response. Amelia, my daughter, looked over and actually said, "That ain't the ghost's fault. It's all that guy's fault. He got exactly what he deserved. He's a terrible human being. You ain't supposed to take over people stuff that doesn't belong to you." And I was like, "Yay, social warrior daughter! Good for you, social justice warrior." But she literally said, she was like, "Well, if he did that and he knows he did that, yeah, they deserve to be haunted."
And then you sit there and got her on your lap and read her the story of Andrew Jackson.
Well, Craig T. Nelson doesn't know. They knew they moved.
No, and that's the thing. And that's what she said. But she said that the old guy, she called him the old guy.
Yeah, but, and by the way, that old guy is one of the greatest character actors of all time, James Caird.
And one of the best storytellers, too.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Loved him, hung out with him for hours. Actually, we actually have met James Caird.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you don't meet him as much no more.
Boy, he's dead.
I guess we could build a house on top of him and see.
Yeah, that's true.
Guys.
But that leads me to
you put the footer on my crotch.
Now that he's done with that,
you put the footer on my crotch.
that's his safe phrase today.
That's too long, Joe.
Kid-friendly Halloween. You put the footer on my crotch. Name of the episode.
Yeah. You write that down because I'll forget.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving right along.
Footer.
So it goes back to our whole subjective thing. Now, Chad, you posted on Facebook the other day. Have you got notes about this?
Several. But go ahead. Yeah.
And as for feedback of people's favorite Halloween
movie.
kid friendly. Well, the issue with a lot of them are what?
They weren't PG.
They suck.
Oh, well.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to. Actually, I haven't seen a lot of them because I'm too old. I didn't see Halloween Town 1, 2, and 14. Did you?
No, I've never seen Halloween Town.
What did you say?
You will.
Maybe, I guess. Or he'll think it's old by the time he gets around to it.
Yeah.
But it's got Carrie Fisher's mom.
Okay.
Princess or
I know. I forgot her name. Debbie Reynolds.
Debbie Reynolds.
So,
if I'm not mistaken.
so these
My
are
kids
very
will watch.
subjective. So we said PG or less. Poltergeist falls into that. Jaws falls into that. But I don't know that I'm going to show my... Well, he right now probably wouldn't pay any attention.
Yeah.
But, well, actually, he likes special effects. I don't know that Poltergeist is good for someone who's probably... I mean, I honestly wouldn't have thought Silas would have been okay with it.
His effects were dated. Bounced right off of him. He's like, that's a drawing. Yeah, it's a drawing, son. Okay.
So CGI.
Yeah, but it's that's why the practical effect of that skin ripping scene, that got to him because you can tell like the hand drawing is a drawing. And the giant head that comes out is a puppet. I mean, you can just look at it. Like, it's not that you can quote unquote see seams, but he's seen enough puppets and stuff like that. We went to the puppet museum. We've done all that stuff. The skin thing got to him because he doesn't understand makeup and he knew the hands were real, and then he got lost. And as soon as that hand went through, he was like, no, and he put a blanket over his head. But that's the only part that really, that and the clown, and again, the clown is just because my kids hate clowns.
I don't like them. All right, who's next?
Okay, I'll go. I'll just briefly, mine's going to be probably brief, but mine is one of those forgotten movies that nobody talks about. Takes place actually on Halloween.
Meet Me in St. Louis.
Spaced Invaders from 1990. Takes place on Halloween.
Are we supposed to get somebody from that?
The director.
I'm working on it. I've been having issues pinning down times when we all could get together like this.
Yes.
Maybe in the month that we'll be together over the holidays.
So I mean,
not all the time. We won't always be together.
So it's
That's sad.
I'll be right here.
Why were you going to be in my gut?
I suck at anatomy. I like cannibalism.
Space Invaders is a Halloween movie.
It takes place on Halloween. The whole thing is,
didn't care for it.
It's a small Illinois town, and they're playing War of the Worlds, Orson Welles, and these aliens.
Is that who did that?
No.
Well, several people. When you looked at me and said Orson Welles.
Several people have done it.
Well, yes, but Orson Welles' version is the one that
HG did a little bit with it.
Not H.G. Wells, H.G. Handyman. He did some adult film versions.
But anyway, these
aliens don't respond well to nudity. Everybody,
get nude.
By the way, we need if after 200 episodes we haven't caught on, we should stop this and we need to start all writing adult films.
But no, so it's about these 5 inept aliens who hear this Illinois town relaying War of the Worlds, and they think their alien fleet is attacking Earth, so they crash there. And it's all about them being mistaken for little kids in Halloween costumes and them trying to get their ship back in order. Yeah.
I call bullshit on that movie.
Why?
Because that one acts like Jack Nicholson.
Yes.
How the fuck you know who Jack Nicholson is?
Hold on. We don't know how long that alien has been alive. Maybe Jack Nicholson acts like him. You ever think about that?
No, because I say it's bullshit.
Okay.
I think as somebody that's trying to get a guest on our show who works on that movie, maybe you should shut your ass, man.
But no, so it was directed by Patrick Reed Johnson, who also
I'm sure
directed,
your movie did better at the box office, Joe.
But he directed.
There was an actual office made out of a box outside, and I was trying to sell tickets. Yes, Chad.
So he directed Angus and Baby's Day Out. He also did a special effects for Warlock and Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Oh, Baby's Day Out.
It was written by Scott Lawrence Alexander and Patrick Reed Johnson. It starred Royal Dano, which we should note that Royal Dano, he plays a farmer who has a dog.
Mm-hmm. Now that scene's funny with the camera.
Yes. 2 years earlier, he did another movie where he played a farmer with a dog.
Okay.
Did the dog have a name?
That would be Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Did the dog have a name?
Yeah, he did. I watched it.
It wasn't Bingo. He
No,
didn't play a farmer who had a
Jesus.
dog, and Bingo was his name. Oh, Bingo. Bingo. Bingo was his name, Chad.
It also starred Ariana
His name,
Richards from Jurassic Park,
Ariana Grande.
Greg Berger, which
That's what I order when I go to Starbucks.
Which the other reason you should watch Space Invaders is because Greg Berger he plays a sleazy lawyer. He's also he's very prominent in voiceover work, so you actually see the Gromble from All Real Monsters and Hampton or not Hampton.
How exciting for you.
Pork Chop from Duckman in person.
Pork chops.
It also starred Fred Applegate and Tony Cox. Tony Cox, who you know from Bad Santa, he's the dwarf.
Yes.
But
Let's try to be inclusive here.
he actually
Little
plays-
person, Billy Barty, rest his soul.
but he actually plays one of the people in the alien costumes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the voice talent. Joe. It has some pretty prominent voice actors: Joe Alasky, Kirk Thatcher, and Tony Pope. No, I just really liked this movie as a kid because it's about these five cool looking aliens. It's right around the same time that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles came out.
Go Ninja, go Ninja, go.
Go. They
Where'd
have.
that go from?
I don't know.
You went go.
Either go.
Go.
It's just a fun movie. There's hijinks that ensue. The aliens don't know what the aliens literally are idiots.
And one of them sounds like Jack Nicholson, even though he's not on Earth. And
Yes.
Why would he know? What would
But
sound
Joe,
like
they're
Jack
picking
Nicholson?
up radio signals too. You ever think about that?
Well, then
How
they're
they
ripping
learn
off
English?
Explorers. So let's
How
just
they
go
learn
ahead and just
English?
point
How
that
about
out
you?
right
How
now.
about you?
They've been ripping off Explorers. Joe Dante's work.
Well,
I
but
call bullshit on that.
there's also tons of other. I mean, we've been
No,
sending out
Joe
signals.
Dante's the
We've been
first.
sending out. Actually, we launched a record that was pressed in gold that had human voices on it. Maybe
With Jack Nicholson's voice on
maybe-
that. I don't know enough to argue with you.
I
It's
don't
possible.
know.
I
It
don't
could.
know.
I mean, they put a lot on it.
Somebody call up Carl Sagan and ask him what he put on that.
Carl.
Carl!
James Karen, can you get Carl for us? We'll move that footer.
Those records aren't for listening, but Carl!
But no, that's,
Oh! Now you did the voice, and now I'm thinking of what? Cody.
Cody!
No, they got Cody.
No, Cody!
Cody, you're going to jail.
If you guys really want some good entertainment, instead of listening to us, go right now and watch Frisky Dingo.
Cody, you're going to jail.
Sorry.
it's on Hulu.
That's better than us.
But it's not kid friendly. I don't know if I'd let my young kids watch
you
it.
fractious child. Sorry, what were we talking
Still
about?
one of my favorite scenes.
We were talking about Space Invaders, but I'm good. James.
Is that Captain Crunch bowl? If you push that bowl off the edge of the table, if you put, I will never buy you Captain Crunk again.
What's your pick, James?
Actually, I asked my kid.
Chad looks sad.
No, I'm good.
No, and actually,
Sad.
what I was going to say though about it, and definitely falls into the PG category because the first time I saw Space Invaders, it was actually one of the rare. Was it made by Touchstone?
I think so.
I think so.
Because I saw it on the Disney Channel. They did it as their movie of the week on a Sunday night.
They're going to put that after Mr. Boogedy on the streaming service.
I know it may be. Yeah, we should check. We should check.
Mr. Boogedy returns. Or no, it's Bride of Boogedy.
I'm your boogeyman. I'm your boogeyman.
That's
God,
what
I looked up the makeup effects. I thought the makeup effects for Mr. Boogedy were so amazing when I was a kid. They do not hold up.
I told you I watched it like a couple of years ago.
Jeez.
God, what a good movie.
I asked my kids. That's how I decided to do this. I was like, why am I putting in effort when I have children and I can say, what's your favorite? What do you like to watch near Halloween? And it actually shocked me, my daughter's first response.
What?
She screamed, Dracula. And I was like, the old one that you watched with me? And she goes, yeah, I love that movie. So Bella Lugosi Dracula, she loves it. Because she even was like, what the back comes
Is this your
in?
pick?
I said, I told my kids, I was like, I want
Well,
to
it is
talk about
family
it.
friendly.
Yeah.
Except for all
And-
the sexual overtones.
Yeah.
But how often do you pick those up? Because I don't
Sexual overtones, according to all these right here, what do you call them? Restraining orders. I pick them up where they ain't existed.
know. So for my pick, I wanted to do Dracula, and I literally asked my daughter why she liked it, and she goes, "Well, it's
What does
creepy."
EPO stand for?
do you mean what's EPO stand for?
Isn't that what it is? EPO, like a restraining order, it's like something.
Yeah. It's
They didn't explain it to me. I asked the cop, but he didn't really want to talk.
probably because he also has an EPO. Now, Mr. Lewis, we can't get within 50 yards of your
I'm going to
house.
mace your ass. You give me those googly eyes, sir. Is that how cops talk?
I mean, maybe some of them.
Bad.
I don't know.
Leroy Brown.
But so my daughter, she just liked it. She was like, "Well, it's creepy without really being scary, but it's great." Like she just liked watching, and I was like, "That's probably fair enough." I mean, she likes the special effects because they're not scary. As she always says, she goes, "Well," she didn't use the phrase tone. She goes, "It's a feeling, not what you see." And I think that's true for most Universal monster
Are
films.
you sure your daughter's not a witch?
She turned me into a newt. I got better.
Does she weigh as much as a duck?
No, she
A wooden duck?
does like to eat bread on water, though. I don't know what that's about.
Who doesn't?
But so I was like, well, what else
My
can I...
duck like side chips. Keep going.
Mitch Hedberg. So I didn't know this, though. So I was like, well, what am I going to say about Dracula? That if you've never seen the Bela Lugosi Dracula, go see it.
We were actually going to do a whole episode on vampires and Dracula.
And
Way to kill it.
No, we will. But I was trying to think about what I could say.
I'm not really looking forward to that episode.
I like vampires.
You would.
I like Dracula better than Space Invaders.
I knew it was based on a play, and Bela Lugosi played in the play. Do you know they were going to recast it for the film?
Yep.
Do you know who it was going to be?
Nope.
It was. They wanted Lon Chaney Sr., and luckily for Bela Lugosi, he died. But Bela Lugosi still wasn't going to get the role, and they used Bela Lugosi and basically guilting him to guarantee him the role. They had him go to Bram Stoker's widow, and she wanted $200,000 if it was going to be made into a film. And Bela Lugosi, because the play had been so successful and made her so much money, said he wasn't even being paid by the studio, but they basically used him as an unofficial envoy to talk her down to $60,000. Because they were going to do a literary adaptation straight from the book.
And no one has still done it.
Well, and that's what they said. They were like, oh, God. You know, the Great Depression was on. And they went, oh, God, that would be expensive. Let's just adapt that play. And that's how we got Dracula that we got. My daughter loves it. And I was thinking, in reference to my daughter, she does theater. And I wonder if that's one of the reasons she likes it. Because it very much is set up like a play.
If you talk to her, you find out.
I did. She said, I like Dracula. And I said, why? And she goes, because it's creepy without being creepy. It's a feeling. Okay.
Same one she
Anything
gets
else?
from Uncle Chad?
No. That's creepy. and a bad touch film. No.
No, wait, what?
That's
Whoa,
not true.
That went dark.
That's
Yeah.
not true.
So, there's yours. Whose turn is it again?
I guess that would be you.
Well, here's
Try to
what's
take
fun.
his again.
Here's what's funny. Is that I...
My children love... Can you read his paper, Jed? I can't read
I can't read it either.
They love Mr. Boogedy.
And my next one is a classic film, too. Because of some of the similar things that you have, I recommend Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein.
Yeah, I would agree with that. They like that one.
It is a family film. It has
I
humor.
don't know why I didn't think of these.
Well, piss excellence. Anyway, it's a monster mash.
Is that why it burns so much?
Pretty much.
I don't think he...
Excellence comes out like high octane, bitch.
Somebody should tell him that isn't excellence. That needs penicillin.
Guacamole.
There's certain things that penicillin can't cure.
Abbott and Costello
Lewis 14 got out of the lab, folks.
meet Draculas.
Had to get all
the
randy with that
Frankensteins.
armadillo.
Are you listening to me?
Nope.
And the Wolfermans. The hapless duo are baggage handlers who encounter more than one classic screen monster at the McDonald's. McDougal's house of
Oh my
horrors.
God.
Horrors?
If our adult film writing, we need to write films such as Dracula Goes to McDonald's. I want the McRib. It's out of season, sir. Curse you.
So, the reason I like it, not only, we're referring back to it, we have the Wolfman played by, that's right, Terry Carey Jr. What? Chaney Jr. Who plays Dracula in this movie?
Wait, who plays the Wolfman?
Don Chaney Jr.
Oh,
Who
okay.
plays Dracula in this movie?
Dracula. They actually drug up Vlad. Voltage through it.
Well,
He's old jerky.
Bela Lugosi.
There you go. The only person we were missing is...
Boris Karloff.
That's right, Basil Rathbone. But he'll come up in another one of my picks.
Really? Okay.
Kind of, yeah.
I like
Alright.
Rathbone. Basil Rathbone. Hey, by the way,
He is one of my... He's my favorite actor to listen to Sherlock.
I was
To do Sherlock.
I would say, and Basil Rathbone. I mean, his name is Basil Rathbone. Like, I don't care.
Dude, he was born to be Basil Rathbone.
Yeah, like there's certain names like, oh, what's your name? Hank Coy. Nobody cares. What's your name? Basil Rathbone.
Dude.
All right, give him a contract.
Yeah, I know. So I just think it's one of those family films that you can enjoy with your children.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. I think it's still accessible to children if you have the right kind of child, specifically the humor. And it gets to introduce them in a non-scary way to three of the Universal classic monsters. Chad, I'm going to spend a lot of time on it.
Well, it's kind of funny, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this next one either, but it's kind of funny because
Why did you guys only leave one cheesy poof?
Because I love
Cheesy
cheesy
poos.
poos. You love cheesy poos.
This jar is empty. Keep going.
So James brought up a Universal. You brought up a Universal. I'm going to bring up what
New World.
what I believe into. What?
I said a new world.
Have you seen this movie, Vamp? Sorry.
No, it's this is actually what I believe could be a possible to get to today's audience, younger kids, into Universal monsters.
Vamp.
Frankenweenie.
Oh, yeah.
That came up on so many lists, I looked it up, but I do not have an attachment to it.
I have an attachment to it.
Which version are you talking about,
I'm talking about the new one from
right.
2012. The
The
stop
other one's a
motion-
short film, right?
The short Tim Burton's first ever venture into filmmaking. That Frankenweenie, which by the way I didn't realize until I bought the special edition of the Blu-ray of the stop motion. It was the kid from Neverending Story.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that.
And you what? Fuck you, Stranger Things. We've been singing that shit for years.
Oh God, yeah, burn my ass.
By the
That's
way, I want to
also-
point out, though.
Something that you can fix with penicillin.
I want to point out, though.
Actually, I don't know when hemorrhoids are fixed with
the true tragedy, and literally, it still plays for people that have seen that film. You mention one horse drowning in a swamp, and you can ruin somebody's day. I literally 30-year-old people going, "What's the name of that horse in the Never-Ending Story that he can't get out of the swamp and it drowns?"
Atreyu.
Trey's the guy.
Yeah, but it's it doesn't matter. But all you have to do
Swamp
is
horse.
all you have to
Come
do
out
is
of the horse. Well, I never saw this coming. Why did I name you Swamp Horse? Tragedy Swamp Horse.
oh, drowned me, get out of that water.
Come on, tragedy, drowned up, swamp drowned up. Come on out of here, cuts his hooves. Just to see colors. Come on. Whoever's a horse who's self-harming. Come on out of here, old self-harming neck.
I love that about that movie. Is like
Self-harming nag is the funniest thing I've said in a month to me.
Self-harming nag.
I think you have to work
You know,
on it.
maybe Never Ending Story should be on our list because there's parts of that movie like as a kid.
it's terrifying.
I remember the
nothing
horse-
is scary.
Yeah.
the wolf working for the nothing that's devoured by the
The
nothing.
wolf is good. too.
doesn't really get to me. You know what got to me as a kid?
What?
Those stupid things he has to walk through, the statues.
Yeah, those are scary, but not as scary as self-harming nag. Sorry.
But no, I just thought about that because I brought it up.
It is scary.
I brought it up.
The sphinxes.
Yeah, and, and you see that guy in a suit of armor. Yeah, well, he's got a suit of armor. He's way better armed than. Holy Jesus! Like,
If only we had self-harming nag here to put in front of us. Oh my God! Hold on.
we need.
Oh, Death Wish gunpowder.
We need to do a version. We need to blend.
Every 5 minutes is another depressing day.
We need to blend, and we lost Joe.
Yeah.
We need.
He's trying to get a revolver.
I love how we went into Frankenweenie. Now it's self-harming nag and Never-Ending Story.
We need to blend.
That's how hard as I've laughed in a long time.
We need to somehow take Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy's humor and blend it in with a fantasy story, just so we can have Marvin the paranoid android as Joe's horse. I pray for death daily. Oh, why, when we run into battle, do you run directly at the sword horse?
I'm good. So
I pray for impalement.
No,
that's not funny.
I'm sorry. Razor horse gets
Razor
all sorts.
Did you know this was the first ever feature-length black and white animated movie? First ever, according to more than one website. I didn't realize this.
I didn't know that. It doesn't.
It surprised me because I thought there would be some animated, but I guess Disney was the first one to have an animated feature length. It was color.
Yeah,
and I guess. But anyway, no. The reason I put this on the list is because, especially with kids today, I feel like it is
these kids today.
It feels like it's a gateway for them to get into Universal Monsters.
Drugs.
Well, find that too, but no. They see it. It gets interested into Frankenstein, and then at the end, when all the others turn, it gets them more into monsters, and then you can lead them into.
I swear,
Universal.
I remember the original one with Daniel Stern more than I remember the new one.
I really did enjoy it.
We watched the original, or I'm sorry, the movie. Amelia was still little. It would have been. I mean, Silas was too little to remember, but I mean, it worked on Amelia. She was very sad they lost his. Spoiler. They lost the dog, and then him.
Well, it's called Frankenweenie. You would think it would have known something happens to the dog.
Well, but then
Not necessarily. I mean,
maybe
it could be a hot dog.
Yeah, maybe he's a very honest dog. He's just very frank, and he's a wiener dog, so he's frank and weenie.
Like when people go and watch Frankenhooker, they're going to go, that hooker makes it out okay.
Doesn't she really?
Frankenhooker.
Doesn't
Keep
she?
going.
That's not a kid
Patty Mullen turned us down to do the show.
She was already dead inside. She was already dead inside.
Speaking of sperm, are you done?
I'm done.
Okay, who's next?
Well, I'm gonna break the rule because I'm gonna go PG-13.
No. He has to.
No.
Because this is one of the biggest bullshit ratings this is what I was going to bring up.
It's Addams Family.
Yeah, I don't see that PG-13 either.
Well, and what's funny is, to me, there's no reason for it to be PG-13 because I love, and I one day hope to just be in the same room as John Astin because I grew up watching the Addams Family with my dad and the original.
We have
one.
begged many cons, including Lex Con and Scarefest, to get John Astin.
And
he
still does appearances sometimes. But anyway, so I am not besmirching the original show.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But this movie, the Raw Julia movie, is the most accurate to the comics. Matter of fact, the opening of the movie where it opens with Christmas carolers, and it shows them, the Christmas carolers keep going, and you're like, oh, what's this? And then they pour boiling oil on them.
Mm-hmm.
That's an original comic. The scene of the guy in the train.
Well, Barry Sonnenfeld is a huge comic book nerd anyway.
I didn't know that.
The guy in the train that looks out and he sees Raw Julia's face is huge and all. That's an original.
That's Barry
comic.
Sonnenfeld, the director, right?
Yeah, Barry Sonnenfeld.
And so he used the original. There's so much of that, and the reason I say that is crap that it's a PG-13 rating is these were published in the New Yorker in the 1950s, 60s, and they weren't censored then. So. But my kids love it. They absolutely love it. Matter of fact, we're going to go probably tomorrow and see the new animated one.
You're not taking me?
You want to go?
I can't. I have a child.
Well, I'm taking mine with me.
Mine's 2.
Yeah. Well, we all have our cross to bear.
Yeah, I'm not sure when I want to pop that movie cherry on it.
We did it with a Muppet film, and that worked well.
I remember that.
Yeah,
I was there.
But anyway,
when you used to care.
Chad's
leaving.
He can't take
I spilled all my Coke on my crotch, and now I'm starting to cough.
You didn't get it on the couch, did you? You know
Can
what?
I have another one while you're up? Since you was up, can I have one?
Sure.
Can I get a cold one?
Can we keep on doing the show? Someone's listening right now. Did these fuckers just get up and drink a Coke?
Did you just laugh for 3 minutes about self-harming nag?
Yeah, I still think it's hilarious.
If they're still listening after your Muttley impersonation.
Although they love it when I crunch shit. Oh, Jesus.
Anyway, people watching the video goes, these guys are jerks. We is. Anyway, no, it's, my kids love it because they know even my daughter probably first watched the original the first Addams Family movie. I think maybe Addams Family Value gets a little bit darker because you do have them roasting somebody alive over
No,
a
it's
fire.
it's quite a bit darker.
Yeah.
But the first movie, I mean, I think my daughter watched at 5. She thought it was funny. It's nothing, it's about family, really. I mean, they're trying to get their uncle back. They think he is the uncle. It turns out he is the uncle. Spoiler. But and so my kids love it. And it's not Halloween to them until they've seen the Addams Family. And they watched the original series still. We watched it. And by the way, I watched the first episode of the original Addams Family today. And speaking of John Astin, Mr. Astin, if you happen to watch this at one point, I'll be shocked. But the first episode, Wednesday and Pugsley find out they have to go to school. They go to school, and then they read them a fairy tale, and they find out that the knight kills the dragon. She comes home and she's crying. And honestly, the Addams Family, the original series, and the movie, I think the portrayal of fatherhood in that is solid, of family.
He's not as... Most of the fathers at that time were portrayed as doofuses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they still are, all the way through Home Improvement and several others. It's a dumbass dad.
Yeah.
It's actually a stereotype that drives me crazy sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, I was talking to my students...
Not that I'm not a dumbass dad.
I was talking to my students about that, though, and I'm like, it makes me angry, and at the same time, I'm part of the problem because I love Homer Simpson. I love Peter Griffin. I'm hypocritical, but it still irks me sometimes. But, if you watch that first episode of the series, when Wednesday is crying, before he ever knows what's wrong, he grabs her and he hugs her and he holds her. And I think that's so cool that, yes, they have voodoo and they have all this stuff going on. But at the end of the day, it's still all about family. And I think kids pick up on that. It's like, okay, yeah, they like weird stuff. But you know what? When one of them's in trouble, they show up.
Yeah. All right, who's up next?
That would be you.
Are you done?
Yeah.
No.
Swing low.
So this is tough for me. This is another one that's not recent.
Okay.
Because I just kept throwing the recent ones out. This is an animated film, and I watch it every year.
Oh, okay. I know what you're doing.
Yeah, well, it's The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad.
That was one my kids mentioned too.
Yep.
It is one of
That's
my...
the only reason I didn't look it up. I know
Thus the Basil Rathbone comes back too. He's the one who...
also have a Bing Crosby.
Well, he narrates Mr. Toad. So there's a few things about this when I started looking it up because I watch it every year. I love it. It's really... I don't so much watch...
I just point out me and James are playing a leg sandwich right now.
Whatever gets you through the night.
Help me make it
through the night. So, I always watch The Headless Horseman
It's a
every
denim
year.
triangle.
Along with one other thing that I want to talk about real quick at the end.
I hope it's like the Bermuda Triangle and we get trapped.
More chafing.
Anyway.
I didn't think we'd hear it today. Man, we have...
Now I am a self-harming voice.
Nag!
We've came up with more episode titles we could use for this episode.
I'm sticking with the first one.
The song Headless Horseman is considered one of the darkest songs written for a Disney film. Much like Worthless from The Brave Little Toaster and Hellfire from The Hunchback of Notre Dame,
Which is
they
a
all
dark
three were nearly cut from all those films. One of Disney's 4 package films, by the way. There's only 4 package films that were released theatrically by Disney.
But where are they?
I don't know all of them. During World War II, the studio...
Our adult film studio will make a lot of package films.
During World War II, the studio lost a lot of its manpower and resources, which left it with countless unfinished ideas, too long for shorts and too short for features. So,
Is Fantasia a package film?
No. Inventive as Disney was, it stuck short ideas together into feature-length movies. So you'll see also Make Mine Music, Melody Time, and Fun and Fancy 3. Fun and Fancy 3 are the other
Make
3.
Mine Music. What was the other one?
Melody Time and Fun and Fancy Free.
I think Make
46,
Mine,
47, 48.
one of those is considered a
Ichabod and Mr.
semi-unofficial.
Toad's from 49.
One of those is considered a semi-unofficial follow-up
Do you know it was that old?
I didn't know it was that old.
to Song of the South. Look that up, but I'm pretty sure one of those is considered.
Despite its
follow-up.
horror fiction elements, the short story, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, has a happy ending. That was the other thing when I was going back to this. I was like, oh, I did read it. It's Washington Irving. He makes it clear that Ichabod gets away. The Disney movie does not.
No.
In any way, shape, or form.
It's
There's
a
an happy
mystery of whether or not
Yeah,
he
it's
survived.
a mystery, yeah.
A
Has
mystery?
A mystery. It's a mystery about a nag who cut itself. Happy ending for all 3 of its main characters, Bob Brones and Katrina von Tassel marry, which happens in the movie. But Ichabod Crane leaves Tarrytown and Sleepy Hollow forever, finds work and success elsewhere. He keeps school at other places and studies law, is admitted to the bar, and acts as a lawyer and a politician. And is last heard of as a justice of the 10-pound court.
Which, by the way, the Johnny Depp, Tim Burton, Christina Ricci film does not follow that ending either. I don't know.
No. I don't know that it necessarily follows too much other than the Hessian shoulder. The soldier, which actually would be accurate. But it was written several years post that time. It's actually, I think Washington Irving wrote it 10 or 20, I think it might have been 10 years after the time was actually takes place.
And if you're going to
he's an American, it's considered one of those American author, American stories, one of the first American
he is the
famous.
first American author.
However, he didn't write the damn thing. He wrote it when he was visiting in Europe.
Yeah. Well, and the other part about it is...
Not that matters, I just found it fascinating.
It is very much, quote-unquote, of its time. There's a lot of slavery.
There is a lot of racism in it, yes, I agree. There is blatant as you're reading it.
Yeah, well,
from the author.
And again, by the way...
Commenting on several races.
Product of its time, per se, but the dude was probably a douchebag.
Probably.
But the thing about that is that
Are you going to say something?
That story...
You should watch The Legend of Sleepy Hollow.
You should, and that story itself gets played up so many times. One of my favorite examples of it is Cronenberg's use of it in Dead Zone. That's the story that Christopher Walken...
You'll like it.
Johnny Smith.
Yeah, you'll like it. It's about a school teacher who gets,
And he actually quotes the line that is in the short story, being a actually he quotes it later on after he wakes up, being a bachelor and then nobody's particular dead, nobody worried their head about it.
Yeah.
And so, but the Disney version works so well, and I can remember being a kid, and when Brom Bones tells the story and does the song, when I was really little, Brom Bones is a jerk, and the song creeped me out more than when he was being chased by the Headless Horseman.
And Bing Crosby nails it, knocks it out of the park. Mm-hmm. It's a wonderful little piece of it's one of my favorite things of all time. It was one of, for most people who follow the show, you know that I'm basically just a fucking failed filmmaker. One of my dreams was always to make my own version of it. I always knew how I'd open the movie, and Tim Burton eventually got to do it, of course. And by the way, I really enjoyed Tim Burton's movie. It's not for kids.
No.
I don't know this particularly.
There is a version you could watch with kids. If you can find it. I used to have it on VHS and I sold it for a lot of money.
Is this the one with Jeff Goldblum?
The Jeff Goldblum, Dick Butkus as Brom Bones film, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow.
I don't know that I'd recommend it.
I don't know if I would either, but I mean, it is. If you're a Jeff Goldblum purist...
Yeah, then you probably should see it.
No, but The Legend of Sleepy Hollow...
Because the Headless Horseman finds a way.
It's one of my favorite things.
It's one of my favorite things as well. I watched it every Halloween as a kid.
We've watched it we have a Halloween party every year, and it's came up more than once, right?
Yeah.
Even though we've all seen it, we'll slip it in between in our reindeer games.
I watch it actually I watch it for some reason often near Christmas too, and I think it's because it feels cold.
I think so too. That's a good point.
Obviously the beginning is Halloween-ish, but the crops are brought in by the time the film really gets to its quote unquote meat, it's winter.
Yeah.
It's cold. And so I like to watch it near Christmas.
All right, Chad.
So I struggle with my last pick. The first two came out right away because of
I struggle with Hashimoto syndrome.
But
what?
I'm gonna have to make
bury that data.
I don't even know what that is. Do you like playing video games? Is that racist?
No, that's Yoshi syndrome. I love them lizards.
Put the footer on my crotch. Thanks for that text message, Tad.
You're welcome.
Tad? Oh, Tad.
But no, my last pick is going to be... it's going to be a Tim Burton double shot. I'm going to talk about Beetlejuice.
Well...
Because it is PG, and this was what I was going to do.
I couldn't remember if it was PG or PG-13, and I knew one of you would pick it, so I left it off my list.
Yeah, and it
is a nice fucking model.
Yes, and this is what I was saying about how the fact that that's PG and the Addams Family's, because this was my example. Addams Family's PG-13. Beetlejuice, nice fucking model. He walks into a brothel.
He grabs his dick quite a bit.
He grabs his dick. There is a child marriage in it, and it's PG. That being said, it is amazing.
It's a great Halloween movie. I don't actually. That's just a good movie. The South Park guys have made more than one joke about that being the last creative Tim Burton film. I don't know that I agree with that.
Yeah,
but
Big Fish.
I actually was going to say Ed Wood, but yes, go ahead.
Well, but Big Fish was after Ed Wood, so that's why.
I'm a big Ed Wood, and I don't know much about that after that. I do parts of
Ed
Big
Wood's
Fish.
is probably one of my top 2 favorite movies of all time, but I'm not arguing that. But Big Fish, it's
well, at
pretty
least
good.
the South Park guys can point to how their films are more creative.
I don't know what that. Anyway.
I don't either. I love both of those movies.
Yeah,
but there's 2 of them.
But Beetlejuice is quintessential Halloween for me. I mean, granted, it doesn't take place on Halloween.
Yeah.
But it involves ghosts. It involves monsters. It has everything.
I think that's another reason I didn't put it on my list. 1, I knew one of you would do it. Same thing with Addams Family. And 2, I don't know that it... Yes, you're absolutely right, but I don't feel it around Halloween.
Yeah. I watch it around October.
Can I tell you a movie, while you're talking really quick, that was on a lot of lists, and I think it's bullshit, because it's a Christmas movie?
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Gremlins.
Gremlins is on a lot of lists.
Gremlins was on more. Google
it's a Christmas
it was
movie.
on several. Huh?
It's
It
not
has that
Halloween.
heartwarming. It has a heartwarming story about her dad
Dad
being
being
Santa.
Santa.
Gremlins is a Christmas movie.
It's a
It
Christmas
is
movie.
not a Halloween movie, but it is on several Halloween lists. When you get a chance later, Google it.
Okay.
It's more than one.
Yeah, I didn't Google any lists. These were just things that came up.
You making fun of me?
A little bit.
He
Fuck
uses
you.
the Google.
Anyway, so
I love to compare.
no,
Go ahead.
Beetlejuice is
I've heard that about you.
it's an amazing
I
movie.
usually come up short.
Tim Burton put his heart and soul into it, and if we didn't have Beetlejuice, we wouldn't have Michael Keaton as Batman.
It was a flawed movie. They had to go back and re-edit it, right?
Yeah.
There's a bunch
And
of
there's
stories.
even quote unquote cameos by Jack Skellington and some of the early model work. If you go back and look, the carousel, that's an early model of Jack Skellington's head is on the top of it. So I mean, it obviously influenced a lot of other stuff that would follow it.
And it also spawned one of the best animated series and
That's what I was about to say. That my kids, their list, what I have the rest to talk about technically is at movies, because my daughter actually flat out said, "Well, you have to talk about something, Dad." Well, what? Though I know I should be wary, still I venture somewhere scary, ghastly, haunting. I turn loose. Beetlejuice. My kids love the animated
And my
show.
3 and 5-year-old still will ask me, "Daddy, can we watch the Beetlejuice cartoon?"
And I think
I
what's
didn't
funny
watch
about
it growing
that-
up.
I think what's funny about that is, like, one of Dana's last Halloweens where she went trick-or-treating, she went as Lydia from the Beetlejuice cartoon. And all she did was basically get the red or whatever and then put the spider webs on it with the marker paint. And it looked perfect, by the way.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think there's something about that character. And I like the way the cartoon is fundamentally different. I don't know why they didn't bring that child marriage into the cartoon. But the fact that, you get a quote-unquote mellower Beetlejuice, but in some way in the cartoon he's actually even more slimy because he's just terrible to everybody. Like in the Netherworld, he has neighbors that want to try to be nice to him, and all he does is just be an absolute jerk to him.
Yeah, he's not a nice man, and he's not a nice man in the movie either.
But
Is it on stream? What streaming is it on?
I don't know the
I
complete
own
series.
the complete series.
Oh, of course you two do.
So, but yeah, no. So Beetlejuice was my.
We're
pick.
fans.
Yeah.
Posers. You posers bring
In
us
fact,
all down.
if you gave me a list of top 10 movies, if I had to, definitely Ed Wood and Beetlejuice would both be in the top 10. So.
Well, it's because Beetlejuice
It's a very
is.
creative
It was
movie.
quintessential for me as a kid.
It's a very creative movie.
It's-
There's not much like Beetlejuice.
No, it's what
And
got me. It's what made me want to do movies as a kid. Is this can be done.
Well,
There's
and it's
not much
so,
like Beetlejuice.
It and Edward Scissorhands both have that weird genre blending.
Yeah.
And Edward Scissorhands to me is a Christmas movie as well.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
Even though it doesn't take place on Christmas, but yeah.
but
I
what's
agree
this-
with that. Yeah,
but
it's
it's-
very much a
it
Christmas
feels
movie.
like a Christmas movie.
It does.
Um,
And Gremlins is a Christmas movie.
And so is Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yes.
yeah, no, it's just. Actually, I think that's a year-round movie.
No. Sorry,
If you're a
James.
real fan. No, anyway, but no,
I'm not a real fan
I
of that
think,
movie.
I think the funny part, that's one of Dana's all-time favorites.
I know it
You do
is.
not
I
mess
like
with
that
it.
in Corpse Bride.
But I think Corpse Bride, I think, is one you could watch with kids. My kids like
Yeah.
it. But I think those movies work so well because they take the surreal. Tim Burton's very much a surreal, his surreal thing. But we see the subdivisions in both of those films. We see this, and then you have this. I think in Beetlejuice, you have the mother who thinks she's all avant-garde, and then you have somebody...
The great Catherine O'Hara.
Yeah, but then you have somebody that's literally... You have the monsters that, no, you think that's weird, let me show you weird. Mm-hmm. And so I think there's something about the juxtaposition of...
Hey, Coach, I don't think we made it.
the outcome... and even that entire Netherworld seed, where he's in the office. I mean, the stuff in the background on that. The Guide for the Recently Deceased. All of that stuff is just great. So no, I love it. So I agree. I think there's so much to those. But then you get the animated series after it. And the animated series, ran 3 seasons?
Yep.
That's it?
No, it ran 4 seasons.
4 seasons. But by the way, a movie spin-off cartoon usually gets 1 season.
Yeah, if that.
And so...
No, I just remember it being on quite a bit.
I thought it was on both Fox and ABC, and actually they had 2 different intros for it because they broadcast them differently. So you actually had 2 different intros. One was had more of the computer animation, if I remember, and the other one was more traditional. So I think you get to looking at these things, and the ones that my kids brought up that weren't, so they wanted me to bring up the Beetlejuice cartoon. I know, but also Garfield. It's not. Well, you said that was your last one.
No,
Okay, well let's take a second. We'll come back.
We can both talk about it. You were saying it's also one of my favorites that I wanted to just say at the end. One of my favorite things of all time. One of my fondest memories from childhood is the Garfield Halloween special.
Well, and I had the book.
And that's
one where your third pick, by the way.
That's the animation one that doesn't still hold up, but I still love it.
Mm-hmm. Well, but I had the book that Jim Davis did off of it, and there's an extra scene in the book that
I've never seen it. Do you still have it?
I probably do in my parents' house somewhere.
Get your ass up there and get it.
I love. Well, I'll probably up there soon this week. But there's an extra scene, and if you've ever seen, you wanted to give them a brief summary because Beetlejuice most people have seen.
Garfield, I think a lot of people probably. Well, Garfield is a cat. Odie is a dog. They don't necessarily get along, and Garfield likes lasagna and likes to be like.
But he doesn't. What doesn't he like, Joe?
He doesn't like Mondays.
Which is weird because he's a cat. He don't have a job.
Yeah. So Garfield decides to go out trick or treating. Odie goes with him. They have.
Well, he invites Odie because he tells Odie that if Odie gets candy,
yeah.
But if good dogs help the cat, they get 1 piece of candy of their very own.
Right. Because Garfield's a dick. There's such a great Garfield joke in Zombieland too. Anyway, moving right along. So they find a real haunted house where the ghost pirates are coming back that night, and guess what? The ghost pirates come back that night, and I don't want to ruin what happens.
Right. Well, in the cartoon or in the comic that he did, the strips that he did, when he adapted it, he had an extra scene which I remembered, and I always am like, oh man, I wish that was missing because Garfield finds all their loot, basically their jewels and all that stuff. And Garfield is goofing around with it before they come back, going, oh, it's just the story, whatever. And he puts on a ring, and he keeps the ring on. And then when he finally makes it back, he thinks it's all over. And in the cartoon, he turns on and like, oh, pirate movie.
Yeah.
Well, in the comic strip, if I'm remembering correctly, before he turns on the TV, he turns around and there's a ghost standing there, and it just points at the ring, and he goes, oh, and he gives back the ring.
The ring's not in the cartoon.
No. But I always remember that scene because for a kid that loved Garfield, but was easily scared when I was younger, I remember that probably, 85? I would have been
84 or 85.
5 or 6.
Yeah,
I would have got that because
it's one of the first, if not the first, Garfield special. I think it may be the first one. Do you know, Chad? They made a ton of them.
Yeah. Well,
I have the whole box set.
Yeah, you can get them on DVD. One DVD now has all 3 of them on it because my kids watched them today. Yeah. Because we started watching the Halloween one, and then Amelia was like, "Can we watch the Thanksgiving one?" Can we watch the Christmas one? So we just,
Oh God, I love both. I love all three of those so much more than I do the Peanuts.
yeah, I never like.
I could never get into
It's
that.
a great pumpkin. It's a great pumpkin,
I
Charlie
like
Brown.
two
Nobody
scenes out of
cares.
the Great
Nobody
Pumpkin.
cares. I got a rock. Good for you. Well, take that rock and beat yourself in the face with it, Charlie Brown. Anyway,
The only person I liked out of Peanuts was Pigpen.
Of course you did. You filthy bugger.
I always.
What's your last one?
I always thought about Schroeder because I'm like, dude, that guy's talented. Like, he's a musical genius, and he's hanging around with like, oh, things don't go my way. Shut up, Charlie Brown. I'm a musical genius. I could be playing
What's
without.
your last one, Thelma?
Well, it was going to be Garfield till you got all uppity. Anyway, the other thing my kids love, and you can get it on DVD. I've got to order a copy because they literally wore out our old copy. There's a Disney sing-along DVD, Disney Haunted Halloween, and it takes a lot of the Halloween songs, but then a lot of public domain songs, spooky, five spooky pumpkins, whatever. And my kids love it. As a matter of fact, my daughter, she's getting at the age where she's trying to figure out what she needs to grow out of, and she goes, I wish I could kind of watch that again. I know I'm too old for it. Which, by the way, I call BS on.
I do too.
Because I'm like, you know what?
She's been too old for that for years.
I'm of the mindset like
Get her some showgirls and show her what it's about.
There's a horror film.
Yeah.
Anyway,
That defies the laws of physics.
nope, just the one physic.
Just the one
No,
physics.
she's really good on that pole.
I was talking about the pool.
Oh.
But you know I've gotten to the point. The older I get, the more I realize if I like something, I don't care. I mean, if it doesn't hurt anybody, if I want to watch, actually for some reason it just popped in my head. Wally, if you're listening, hi Wally. Wally doing the when he would talk about Jingle All the Way. The holiday classic Jingle All the Way.
Yeah. That's a terrible impersonation of Wally impersonating Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, Wally,
who did it really well.
By the way,
I know.
that is actually now considered a holiday classic for some stupid reason.
The other
Sinbad, never forget.
The other one that my kids like that everybody will groan after because I do it for Wally. Every year we do a Halloween quote. I've been doing some of them on Twitter.
Who's
the Bonehead
scared?
Account. Ernest Scared Stupid. Which
I
is
thought you were going to bring that
I thought
one.
you were.
you know what the reason
Because I'm not a fan.
Neither
watched it again. The Chiodo brothers work on that. I like.
A lot of the creature of work, but you about killed me here one Halloween drunk because I'd never actually watched it, and you all made me watch it.
Do you think watching it intoxicated might have been some of the problem? You didn't.
No, I think it helped.
Nuances. Because I'll be honest, Eartha Kitt is a gem in anything that she's in. If you disagree, you're Hitler and deserve to be burned at the stake.
Her, Paul Newman, and James Dean.
Eartha Kitt, I'm telling you, she was talented.
Eartha Kitt.
Best
Sandwich.
Catwoman.
That's what happened.
Best Catwoman, Eartha Kitt.
Yeah.
Julie Newmar.
No, not Julie Newmar. It's either Eartha Kitt or the one from the movie.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
No, the Adam West movie.
Yeah, there's three of them.
I honestly thought you were going to say Halle Berry, and I was going to have to punch you.
That would have been hilarious. Anyway, what's your... is that your last one?
The only thing, I looked at Silas, my son, and I said, you haven't chimed much. And he goes, you know what's one of the coolest parts about Halloween? No, son, that's why I'm asking you this question so Daddy can talk about it on the show. I figure it's better than me grasping at the straws. He goes, that's when they bring out the Halloween skins on Fortnite. He said, skeletons, dude. You can be a skeleton in the game. Okay, thanks, son. This is great. So, evidently, if you have a child that plays Fortnite, skeletons. You can be a skeleton in the game.
Huh.
Actually, the skeleton skin name, let me look this up. Joe, you want to throw out
What's
an
your honorable mentions?
I have a couple. My honorable mentions, one is Christy's honorable mention, and she's right. Although I think it's a little dark. It depends on your child. Is Monster House, directed by Gil Kennedy.
Man, that is dark.
That's a good movie, though.
It is a good movie.
It's a good movie. It is animated, but I don't know. There's a couple of those that are pretty dark. There's there's Paranorman.
Here's the problem I have with Monster House.
But I like Monster House out of all the ones
I like
better.
Monster House, but the only problem I have with Monster House is the animation.
I don't remember.
It's very choppy.
It's dated now. I mean, the animation...
I recommend that one, and the other one I recommend is also a dark film, but it's not as dark as the original book. Is the early 80s. There's a Watcher in the Woods, but I don't particularly care for that as far as early 80s films where they were Disney films. The one I would recommend is Something Wicked This Way Comes.
No, that's a good one.
Yeah, but that is.
But I haven't seen it in a long time, and I don't know that it's is it easy to find? Does anybody own it?
I don't own it.
No, I don't know if it's.
I never
easy
had
to
that
find,
connection to it.
But that
I don't really have I have connection to scenes in it, so I don't own it. But I was trying to think of something that was a little darker, a little edgier, and it is Disney made, but it's Something Wicked This Way Comes.
And it is. It's darker. I mean,
Royal Dano is also in Something Wicked.
Oh, he is?
Yes, he is. Because he never stopped working because he's a mensch.
All right.
What are some of the honorable mentions that our fans mentioned? Does anybody have?
Halloween Town, Halloween Town 2, 3.
They brought up Halloween Town, Little Shop of Horrors, but that's PG-13.
Unless what's your old one? Is the old one PG?
I'm assuming it is.
Yeah, probably.
Jack Nicholson.
But let me go into my honorable mentions and we'll get into our responses on
Okay,
Facebook.
yeah, I just want to make sure we.
And
you respond to us, we'll give you a shout out.
Some of mine were actually on the list. So the double shot of Coraline and Paranorman.
Coraline,
Other Mother
is terrifying.
It's terrifying, but that book is amazing.
Little Monsters with Howie Mandel.
Yeah, that was on there, and I thought, is that a Halloween movie?
It's about monsters. It's not really Halloween.
Yeah.
But and then recently, The House with a Clock in Its Walls, Eli Roth.
So I didn't see that. I've still not seen it. Is it good?
I enjoy it.
My kids. So
it's my favorite Eli Roth film.
And if you've read the book,
Over Green Inferno.
If you've read the book, he does a pretty decent
Green Inferno is not a good
adaptation.
movie.
But if you read the book is a kid's book, but it doesn't back away from some stuff. There's some, I mean, just even the emotion going into that book, he loses his parents. And that's not a dwelling point so much in the story, in the movie. But in the book, it plays much more of a role. And there's, if I remember correctly, he doesn't cause an eclipse in the movie, does he?
I don't remember. I haven't seen it.
So Amelia begged to see it when it came out, so I actually got to see it in theaters, and then I think we bought it on Blu-ray. But no, House with the Clock on Its Walls is a good one. But the author for that, whose name is escaping me, wrote a ton, and he only recently passed away. They tried to make that into a film for years, but it
had been developed. Actually, it's produced by Spielberg.
It's a darker story. Yeah. Even the book. But if you like Harry Potter. If your kids like Harry Potter, I would recommend pick up some books by that author. There's the Ghost in the Mirror is another one, but he doesn't back away from he believes scary is scary, and the warlock that's after them in the movie and in the book is very much like, as an adult reading it, it's like, no, I don't want that dude after me either.
But no, so some of the mentions from our post, Hocus Pocus made a lot.
Okay, so let's talk real quick about why we didn't pick Hocus Pocus.
I don't like it.
I don't like it either.
I would have actually picked it. It's something, to be honest.
It's a huge movie, and honestly, if we were going by what's popular, it should have been our #1 movie.
Yes. Well, and flip side of that,
it's right up there with Christmas Vacation for Christmas.
I didn't have a huge attachment to it until, quite frankly, I got married. My wife loves it.
My wife
and
loves
we
it too.
saw it on the big screen about 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Hattiesburg, the Sanger Theater, which is the historical theater, every year for the past, I guess, 4 years, has been doing a big screen, and it's they do that, and then later on they do Rocky Horror, and they both have a festival type feel. You go down a few hours early.
That might be fun.
They have all that stuff, and I'll be honest, seeing it in the big screen. And I appreciate Doug Jones 10 times more.
Well, yeah,
now.
Doug Jones.
But
Mick Garris, who we've talked about on the show, and we've told you to follow his podcast.
But he won't do it.
Well, no, he won't do ours. But he has talked to me, so that's nice.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was nice enough to say no.
Yeah.
Rather than this.
And he will comment on stuff online.
But Mick Garris wrote
the story. Yeah, it was a little darker, the original version.
And allegedly, if you're a fan of it, by the way, and like I said, it's grown on me because I see the effect it has. Like my daughter, when we went to see it, she was living her best life with her soda, her popcorn, and she'd seen the movie 1,000 times, but on the big screen, and it was like,
I get it. I wanted to go watch the Evil Dead trilogy Friday and could not figure out a way to get away from work.
But it's one of those things, and I appreciate it now, and I appreciate the fact that it is. I mean, it's a blended age movie. It really is. Like,
it has not only a huge following. I'm not going to say cult. It has a huge following, and it brings families together.
Yeah.
And I can't give a better compliment.
So
I know that sounds very cliche, but I agree with you 100%. I don't think I can give
18
a
to
better
20-year-old me.
I just don't like it.
18 to 20-year-old me dismissed it. Now I'm like, no, this is fun. It's fun to watch. So I will defend it. That being said, there is a novel that's a follow-up, and then allegedly...
About the sequel, they do this every year.
But Disney Plus
is doing it.
It's going to be direct to Disney Plus, but they don't know if the original cast is going to be involved. So there's already people online going, to hell with that.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens, but I think...
And Kathy and Jimmy is going to be where?
Lexington Comic-Con.
Lexington Comic-Con in the spring. Come by and see me.
But I think or her, as the case may be, because Joe is not secretly...
Go give the Greers all your moolah.
But no, I think that... but as I was watching it with that idea in mind, and every year they have said, oh, it's going to be... And matter of fact, Bette Midler has been asked 1,000 times, and she goes, I'd love to do it. Let me know.
Yeah.
But I think what's interesting about that is, as I was watching it with my kids in the theater, I was like, man, there are a ton of ways you could do a follow-up to this. Because there were other witches that are referenced, never directly, but... You know, it's not like, oh, the Sandersons were the only witches ever. There's like, no, there were other ones, and they're the last ones. So that world is left to play with. So
what's some other ones, Chad?
We got Casper.
That's one. Actually, I enjoyed that as a young person, and I wouldn't.
Casper works for me because the cameos that I loved.
James has something to say about every of these.
No,
it's like he's
until Dan Aykroyd's last appearance as a Ghostbuster. Until you got Clint Eastwood's in that movie as a cameo.
Yeah.
I mean, Crypt Keeper.
There's so many things in that movie that if you enjoyed genre films of that time, you're like, oh!
It was a lot of fun. I saw it in a theater at Fugits when it came out, so I enjoyed it at that time. I doubt that I'd care for it now.
We also got The Ghost of Mr. Chicken.
Which oddly enough,
my kids
it didn't occur to me to put on until you just said it.
My kids watched that, actually. That was the first quote-unquote horror movie I could get my kids to watch, and I had to sell it to them as it's really just a mystery. You'll find out there's no ghost.
Christy got it on for...
But...
I've actually never seen it.
But that's pretty dark.
It is kind of dark, and it's all about dealing with bullies, actually, and standing up for yourself.
Attaboy, Luther.
Attaboy. I can't believe you've never seen it. It's on Blu-ray upstairs. It's actually the first thing I showed him at Halloween, because Christy got it finally for me on Blu-ray, because all I had was a VHS.
Well,
I've got a 4-pack that came with it, The Reluctant Astronaut.
It, by the way, does not need to be on Brulee.
Brulee.
Oh, and it is one of the most... Universal backlot movies ever made.
Oh yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah.
They barely dressed it.
Yeah.
But we also got the Haunted Mansion, the Scooby-Doo movies, and Hotel Transylvania. There's some more.
Hotel Transylvania is probably slightly better than I give it credit for.
Hotel Transylvania, I've seen them all in theaters because of my kids.
Uh-huh.
And I enjoy them, but they're popcorn to me. Like it's okay.
Mel Brooks is in them.
Mel Brooks is like, oh, it's a funny line. There's a throwaway allusion.
It's pretty much.
But I would argue it's the best thing that the Adam Sandler bunch is doing right now. No offense meant to their Netflix stuff,
but it's also that there's a large thanks to Jindy Tartakovsky. I'm gonna butcher the name. The guy who created Samurai Jack, Dexter's Laboratory. Yeah. He's the director. He's the creator and director.
And they evidently had a fallout between 2 and 3, and then patched it up for 3.
Okay. Yeah,
I read it online.
The last two, I haven't actually, but these are two that were mentioned that are.
You want to push that from not now restart thing. Thank you. All right, and
Don't Look Under the Bed and The Worst Witch.
The Worst Witch I've heard of. Don't Look Under the Bed I haven't.
So.
Oh, and another one was that movie that came out just to what? Scariest Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Yeah, but that's PG-13, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I
skipped a lot that were actually not PG, so...
Yeah.
But, and I think that's
Dark Shadows got mentioned.
I think that's it. I think...
I don't know that that's a Halloween movie.
Oddly enough, by the way, my kids... And, there's one more honorable mention I should have, because I wanted to bring this up, because it just shows you how weird my kids are. Actually, there's 2. They mentioned... one that they mentioned was Lore.
The podcast, the show.
The show on Amazon. And before I say that, let me say, don't take that as a sign to show your kids random episodes of Lore. My kids wanted to know the history of vampirism, and I'd listened to the podcast. But I knew they did that episode. It was one of the ones Amazon adapted into an episode. And my daughter got a little freaked out because of the blood in it, so she left the room. But my son sat and watched the entire thing, and he said, well, vampires make much more sense now. I mean, they're fake, but I can see where people would go, oh, maybe this is linked.
Yeah.
And so it does the history of it, and my kids love history, and if you can give them history and horror together, they love horror. And so they really enjoyed, or he really enjoyed lore. So he literally said, you've got to mention lore, Dad. That was really cool. So if your kids are nerdy like mine and they like history and horror at age 7, set through where it talked about the bloodletting and the tuberculosis and all of that stuff. And he goes, oh, so they were coughing up blood, so they had blood in their mouth. So they, yeah, Silas, it's cool, buddy. So he loved that. And I think that's what I was going to end with is doing Halloween movies for your kids. One of the movies as a kid that scarred me for life, I could watch the real Ghostbusters cartoon, which now I look at some of that and go, man, some of these
Some of them are
freaky.
dark. The Sam Hain one is kind of dark.
The Sandman one
The
is
Sandman.
one like, oh.
The
it's-
Boogeyman, for God's sake.
Yeah.
The Boogeyman's a little dark. And
And those I could sit and watch, but a movie that got to me as a kid that freaked me out, and I need to watch as an adult because I'm sure I'd be like, pfft, but was The Last Unicorn. That bull in a lake of fire freaked the living. Maybe it's because I grew up on a farm and we had
And
cattle.
Lake of Fire.
The bull scared you, but not the giant bird with 6 breasts who ate the lady.
Ooh.
I was interested. I was going to see if she was available after.
Oh my God.
That's 3 more than the one from Total Recall. That's infinitely more. And on that, should we wrap this up?
So
gentlemen?
no, my point being, it depends on
Do
your
you
kid.
have one?
It depends on your kid.
Yeah, it depends on your
Because
kids.
my
Some
daughter,
kids-
what was the movie you watched when my daughter was really young and she
We
laughed
watched Return of the Living Dead with your daughter.
And
in
she was,
in
what,
my
18
living room.
months or
Yeah,
what? And she
probably.
just
She
laughed
couldn't
at
have
it
been-
'cause
She couldn't have been too.
To her, it was a
more than
puppet that was talking about how brains took pain
two.
away.
Yeah, she
And
could have been
laughed.
more than 2.
And now, by the
Another
way,
good question. It was dark after 9. Why was your daughter up at my house?
because
doesn't
my
matter.
daughter never slept. My son was much better sleeper. My daughter was a nightmare. A nightmare from which I shall never wake. Happy
And
Halloween.
It depends on your child.
It does.
One of your daughters is more
Yeah,
sensitive
yeah.
to it than others.
And
right?
the other one has already killed 7 people, and it's all we can do to stop her from
That's
dancing in the
right.
blood.
We call her Little Dexter Jennings. And with that,
Look, I'm wearing my red smile today.
you guys enjoy Halloween. Go out, hang out with your families, eat some candy. Treat it like any other holiday. Avoid your family. I think I just said go out and hang out with your family.
Yes, you did.
What I meant their immediate family. Don't go see your second cousin Carl. But Carl,
But now Carl has the best candy.
Yeah, if he gives out full-size bars.
I got you full size bar of my paints.
Or go to Cody and get some Captain Crunch.
Yeah, Joe's having some issues with continence.
Cody,
Continents.
you're going to jail.
That's right. Where's Antarctica?
Bye, everybody.
Bye. This has been Bonehead.
Ah.